The valence bond theory in coordination compounds. Myself, Dr. Digna Varghese. Theory or VB theory is one of the most important basic theories along with molecular orbital theory. These two theories were developed to use the methods of quantum mechanics to explain chemical bonding. Valence bond theory focuses how the atomic orbitals of the dissociated atoms combine to give individual chemical bond when a molecule is formed. In 1960, G. N. Lewis, who proposed that a chemical bond forms by the interaction of two shared bonding electrons. In 1927, the other two scientists, Walter Heitler and Fritz Lenton, they developed a theory which for the first time enabled the calculation of bonding properties of the hydrogen molecule based on quantum mechanical considerations. Linus Pauling used the bonding ideas of Lewis together with Hitler and London theory to develop another new concept in 1930, that is valence bond theory. The valence bond theory has been developed mostly by Linus Pauling. In valence bond theory, the bonds results from the pairing of unpaired electrons from the valence shell atomic orbital. The main difference between the valence bond theory and the molecular orbital theory is that valence bond theory considering only the electrons in valence orbitals in bonding. In contrast, molecular orbital theory deals with the orbitals of the entire molecule. Pauling published in 1931 his landmark paper on valence bond theory, that is, on the nature of the chemical bond. In 1939, Pauling published a textbook based on the article on the nature of the chemical bond. This article or a textbook act as the Bible of modern chemistry. The book helped experimental chemists to understand the impact of quantum theory on chemistry. To the next topic, valence bond theory in coordination compounds. We know valence bond theory is mostly proposed by the scientist Pauling. Valence bond theory mainly deals with four factors. That is, first one is electronic structures of central metal ion. Second one is bonding of complexes. Third one is geometry of complexes. And the fourth one is magnetic properties of complexes. We know the valence bond theory deals with the electronic structure of the central metal ion in its ground state and the kind of bonding, geometry, and magnetic properties of the complexes. So, the valence bond theory based on the following assumptions. First one is the central metal atom or ion should have adequate number of empty orbitals for the formation of coordinate bonds with suitable ligands. The central metal atom or ion have a number of empty s, p and d atomic orbitals which is equal to its coordination number. Therefore, we can say that the number of empty orbitals will be equal to the coordination number of the central metal ion. The second point is that the these vacant empty orbitals, that is the appropriate number of atomic orbitals, say sp and d of the metal, hybridized to give an equal number of new node orbitals of equivalent energy called hybrid orbitals, which are in the same number as the atomic orbitals hybridizing together. That is, the hybrid orbitals are directed towards the ligand positions according to the geometry of the complex. First point is that the metal should have adequate number of empty orbitals. These empty orbitals undergo hybridization and forming a new orbitals of equivalent energy, that is hybrid orbitals. These hybrid orbitals are directed towards the ligand positions in space, that is uh, responsible for the geometry of the complex. Okay. The d orbitals involved in the hybridization may be inner or outer orbitals. That is, the d orbitals involved in the hybridization may be inner, that is, n-1 d orbitals. The complexes thus formed are referred to as low spin complexes. Orbitals involved in the hybridization may be outer, that is, nd orbitals. The complexes thus formed are referred to as high spin complexes. So there are two types of complexes, high spin complexes and low spin complexes according to the orbitals involved in hybridization. That is, if nd orbitals involved in hybridization, that forms high spin complexes. If n-1 d orbitals involved in the hybridization, that form inner complexes, that is low spin complexes. Next point is each ligand has at least one orbital containing a lone pair of electrons. A molecule acts as ligand only if it can donate electrons to the metal ion. So, each ligand has at least one orbital containing a lone pair of electrons in order to donate electrons to the metal atom. Then only forms a coordinate bond. Third point, the empty hybrid orbitals of the metal ion overlap with the fully filled orbitals of the ligand, forming the ligand-metal coordinate bond. The empty hybrid orbitals of the metal ion overlap with the fully filled orbitals of the ligand, forming a ligand-metal coordinate bond. The number of such bonds varies with the number of empty orbitals made available by the central ion. The number of coordination bond is that the empty hybrid orbitals of the metal ion overlap with the fully filled orbitals of the ligand. So, ligand donate electrons to the metal or ligand electrons from the ligand sharing to metal and forming a coordinate bond. So the number of such bonds varies with the number of empty orbitals made available by the central ion. It forms a sigma bond. If sigma orbitals are overlapping, it forms a sigma bond, ligand to metal sigma bond. This is generally known as a coordinate bond. Coordinate bond is a special type of covalent bond, but in which the two electrons actually sharing only by ligands. Here you can see a table that represents the coordination number, hybridization, molecular geometry, and examples for the corresponding coordination number. The first one is coordination number 2. The hybridization is sp and the molecular geometry is linear, and example is silver complexes, diamine and dicyanido-silver complexes. Next one is the coordination number 3. Hybridization is sp2. Geometry is trigonal planar, and the example is Hgi3 minus. For coordination number 4, hybridization is sp3 if it is tetrahedral geometry, And the examples are tetracarbonyl nickel, tetraamine zinc 2 iron. Another coordination number is 4. The hybridization is different, that is dsp2. Here n-1 d shell is used, that is dx square y square is used here. It has a square planar geometry, and the examples for square planar complexes is tetramine platinum 2 iron and tetracyanidonickelate 2. Here you can see coordination number 5. The hybridization is dsp3. Here also the inner d orbital is used, that is dz square undergo hybridization, and the geometry is trigonal bipyramidal. The example is pentacarbonyl iron. Coordination number 5, another hybridization, that is sp3d. Here the outer orbital is used, that is dx square y square is used for hybridization. Geometry is square pyramidal, and the example is pentafluorido antimonate 2 minus. Here you can see the next coordination number 6, and the hybridization is sp3d2 or d2sp3. Here the two d orbitals are involved in hybridization, that is dz square and dx square y square. The geometry corresponding to coordination number 6 is octahedral, and here cobalt hexamine complex, cobalt hexafluorido complex are examples. So these are the most commonly encountered hybridization in complexes. Let us apply the assumptions of the valence bond theory to the formation of the complexes. First one is the octahedral complexes, hexamine cobalt 3 iron, that is CONH3 6 Cl3. Okay, we know the central metal atom here is cobalt. So its outer electronic configuration of cobalt is 3d6, cobalt 3 ion. So it's 3d6. Here you can see 3d6 configuration 4s0 and 4p0. Number of ammonia ligands in this complexes is 6. So coordination number of cobalt is 6. In cobalt 3 ion, 4 of the 3d orbitals are singly filled, that you can see here, and one 3d orbitals has a lone pair of electrons, that is a pair of electrons here. Okay, examine cobalt 3 ion. The central atom is cobalt and its outer electronic configuration is 3d6, 4s0, 4p0. Okay. In cobalt 3 ion, 4 orbitals, that is 4s and 4p orbitals are vacant or empty. So, but the metals ion must have 2 of the 3d orbitals empty in order to accommodate the 12 electrons from ammonia ligands. We know that each ammonia ligand can donate 2 electrons to the central cobalt atom. So here 6 ammonia ligands, so 6 into 2 electrons, that will give 12 electrons total. So in order to accommodate 12 electrons in the cobalt atom, 2 of the 3d orbitals should be empty in order to accommodate 2 ammonia ligands electrons. Okay. So in the energy level diagram, you can see here, when approaching the ammonia ligands, the 3 orbitals, 3d orbitals are completely paired. Okay. These 2 electrons undergo a movement and forming a pairing here, and two 3D orbitals vacant. Okay, so when approaching ammonia ligands, two of the 3D orbitals empty, and there is 4s orbital is empty, and for 3 4p orbitals empty. We know according to Pauli's exclusion principle, each orbital will accommodate 2 electrons. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 orbitals vacant. So 6 orbitals become empty in order to fill 12 electrons from ammonia. Okay. So here the hybridization is 2 3d orbitals, 1 4s orbital, 3 4p orbitals hybridized to give 6 d2sp3 hybrid orbitals. So hybridization is d2sp3, that is octahedral geometry. Empty metal ion orbitals to accommodate 12 electrons from 6 ammonia molecules. So these electrons is filled in this empty orbitals like this. Okay, total 12 electrons. So this is the formation of hybrid orbitals and forming octahedral geometry for the complex cobalt hexamine 3 ion. So here you can see the energy level diagram, and when ammonia ligands approaching to the metal ion, the 2 orbitals 3d orbitals becomes empty, and here 4s orbital is empty, 4p orbitals are also empty in order to fill the 12 electrons from ammonia. So the hybridization is d2sp3, and this 12 electrons from the 6 ammonia ligands is filled in these orbitals. The complex does not contain any unpaired electron and is therefore diamagnetic. It would involve D2sp3 hybridization, and its structure would be octahedral. Okay, hybridization is D2sp3 and there is no unpaired electron in the orbitals that you can see here, and its structure is octahedral. Atom cobalt utilizes the inner n-1 d orbitals for the formation of D2sp3 hybrid orbitals. Such a complex is called an inner orbital complex, which is also known as covalent complexes or spin paired complexes. Here you can see the 3d6 orbitals, that is 3d orbitals and 6 d2sp3 hybrid orbitals are completely paired. So it is a diamagnetic one, and it is used inner d orbitals for the formation of hybridized orbitals. So it is also known as inner orbital complex. In the formation of an inner orbital complex, the electrons of the metal atom are forced to pair up, and hence the complex would either be diamagnetic or would have a lesser number of unpaired electrons compared to their number in the free metal ion. Such a complex is called low spin complex. You can see here in the case of cobalt hexamine 3 ion, we know in the free metal ion there is 3d6 complex 3d6 configuration. In that, one d orbital is filled or paired one, and the other 4 d orbitals are singly occupied by the electrons. But when the ammonia molecule approaches to the metal ion, The electrons of the metal atom are forced to pair up and form 3D orbitals are paired by the ammonia molecules and form the 6 electron in 3D orbitals. Okay, and you can see here 6 electrons in the 3d6 orbitals, and here 6 12 electrons in d2sp3 hybrid orbitals are paired. So it is a diamagnetic. But in the case of inner orbital complex, it is not diamagnetic always. It would have a lesser number of unpaired electrons compared to their number in the free metal ion. Okay, such a complex is called low spin complex. A table that gives an examples of inner orbital complex, that is here chromium dipyridine complex. Its configuration is D4. N1 is number of unpaired electrons in free metal ion is 4. After complexation there is 2 and the magnetic moment is 4.90 and the experimental value is 3.3. So in the case of manganese hexa octahedral complex, here you can see D5 configuration for the manganese 2 plus, and here the N1 is 5 unpaired electrons in the free manganese ion. After complexation it shows only one unpaired electron. In the case of manganese 3 octahedral complex, D4 configuration is here. Before complexation 4 unpaired electrons, after complexation 2 unpaired electrons. So in these complexes you can see here before complexation the number of unpaired electron is high, after complexation number of unpaired electrons less. So these complexes are examples of low spin complexes. Here you can see in a low spin complex or inner orbital complex, the number of unpaired electrons N2 in the complex is less than that in the free metal ion, that is N1. If N2 is less than N1, that such a inner orbital complex is known as low spin complex. It is for this reason that the value of the experimental magnetic moment for these complexes is less than the spin-only value, magnetic moment value of the free metal ion calculated from spin-only formula. So you can see here the difference. Experimental value is 3.3 Bohr magneton. Here 4.90. Here for the manganese 2 octahedral complex 1.8. Its spin-only value is 5.92. Magnetic moment for the free metal ion 4.90. After complexation it is less, that is experimental value is 3.2. So you can see here the experimental magnetic moment for such low spin complexes is lesser than the free metal ion calculated by spin only formula. Example is hexafluoridocobaltate 3 ion COF6 3-. We know the central metal atom is cobalt and it is the oxidation state is 3 plus. So its outer electronic configuration of cobalt 3 ion is 3d6. And here you can see its outer shell configuration, that is 3d6 4s0 4p0. Number of fluoride ligands in this complex is 6. So the coordination number of cobalt is 6. And in cobalt 3 ion has 4 of the 3d orbitals are simply filled and one 3d orbital has a pair of electrons. So we know the physical measurements show that the complex ion is paramagnetic in nature. Okay. In cobalt 3 ion, the 5 3d orbitals are and other 4 orbitals 4s, 4p. But in COF6 3-, the complex is paramagnetic by experimental magnetic moment measurements, and the metal ion must have the same number of 3d electrons in the complex also. When approaching the fluoride ligands, the same configuration is here also according to the magnetic moment value. So the empty orbitals available here is 4s, 4p and the outer 4d orbitals. Okay, so these are the orbitals available for bonding with 6 fluoride ions. Okay, so here the hybridization is sp3d2, d2 from the 4d orbitals. Okay, so in order to accommodate 12 electrons from the fluoride ligands, the available orbitals are 4s, 4p and 2 of the 4d orbitals, and form hybridization forming a 6 sp3d2 hybrid orbitals, and the hybridization is sp3d2, and here the 2 electrons from each ammonia ligands donate electrons to these orbitals, and the empty metal ion orbitals accommodate 12 electrons here in this sp3d2 hybrid orbitals. Complex is therefore paramagnetic because it contains unpaired electrons. It would have sp3d2 hybridization and its structure would be octahedral as shown in the picture. Scientist Huygens in 1937 suggested that in this complex the 3d orbitals remain undisturbed. That you can see here the 3d orbital is undisturbed while the 4 outer 4d orbitals are involved in hybridization and forms a 6 hybrid orbitals. The metal ion utilizes outer nd orbitals. Such a complex is called outer orbital complex. Here you can see the outer 4d orbitals are involved in the formation of sp3d2 hybrid orbitals. So it is a outer orbital complex. It is also known as ionic complexes. By NIO, it is said to be a spin-free complex. The outer orbital complex has a larger number of unpaired electrons than their number in inner orbital complex of the same metal ion, since the configuration of the metal ion remains undisturbed on complexation. Such a complex is also called high spin complex. Here you can
In
see
outer
in
orbital
this
complex or in high spin
table
complexes,
a
the
manganese
metal ion has the
thiocyanato
same
complex.
electronic
The
configuration as it
configuration is
has in the
D5,
free metal
N1
ion.
is 5, N2 is 5.
Thus, the number of
So
unpaired
here
electrons in the
after
complex
complexation
and the
and
free
before
metal ion are
complexation
the
is the
same.
same number,
Therefore, the
a same number of
magnetic
unpaired
moment
electrons,
value
and its
calculated
magnetic
from the
moment is
Spinelli formula
5.1 and
for
the
both the
complex is
experimental and the
paramagnetic.
theoretical
In the
values are comparable.
manganese acetylacetone complex, here the configuration is D4. You can see here D4, N1 is 4, N2 is 4 here, and the magnetic moment value is 4.90 and 5.0. In the case of iron complex, triacetylene complex, D6 is configuration. Number of unpaired electrons before and after complexation is same. And for the example, from these examples you can see here the complex is paramagnetic in nature, and in the metal ion in these complexes has the same electronic configuration as it has in the free metal ion or in the ground state. Thus, in the case of these complexes, N1 is equal to N2, and consequently the Spin-only magnetic moment values are comparable with the experimental magnetic moment values. These are almost the same. Okay. Remember, the inner orbital complexes are formed with the ligands of low electronegativity ligands such as phosphorus, arsenic, etc., especially when d-pi p-pi bonding is possible. In the case of octahedral complexes of nickel 2 ion must be of outer orbital octahedral complex. The outer orbital complexes are formed with more electronegative ligands. Okay, the outer orbital complexes are formed with more electronegative ligands. The inner orbital complexes are formed with ligands of low electronegative ligands. Octahedral complexes of nickel 2 ion must be a outer orbital octahedral complex. To the valence bond theory in tetrahedral complexes. Example is tetrachloronickelate 2 ion, that is NiCl4 2 minus. The central metal atom is nickel, so its outer electronic configuration is of nickel 2 plus is 3d8. Here you can see 3d8, 4s0, 4p0 is the outer electronic configuration of nickel 2 plus ion. The nickel 2 ion has two unpaired electrons. One is here and the other one is here. The number of chloride ligands in this complex is 4. So its coordination number of nickel is 4 here. So nickel 2 plus ion has 2 of the 3d orbitals are singly filled and 3d orbital has a pair of electrons. The 4s orbital is empty, 4p orbital is empty here. So the complex of nickel with the coordination number 4 is paramagnetic because there is 1 s orbital and 3 p orbitals are empty orbitals in order to accommodate 8 electrons from the chloride ligand. So it would involve sp3 hybridization. Here you can see the ground state electronic configuration is 3d8, 4s0, 4p0. When approaching chloride ligands to the nickel 2 ion, it will give the same configuration as the free metal ion, because here you can see here 4 vacant orbitals in order to accommodate 8 electrons from the 4 chloride ions. So its hybridization is sp3 hybridization. Here you can see the 4 sp3 hybrid orbitals which accommodate 8 electrons from the 4 chloride ligands. So it would involve sp3 hybridization and its structure would be tetrahedral. The magnetic measurements shows that the complex is paramagnetic. Its bond angle is 109.5 degree. Moving to the valence bond theory in square planar complexes. Example is tetracyanidonickelate 2 ion NiCN4 2 minus. Here the central metal atom is nickel 2 plus and the outer electronic configuration is 3d8. You can see here 3d8, 4s0, 4p0 outer electronic configuration of nickel 2 plus. The nickel 2 ion has two unpaired electrons that you can see here, and number of cyanide ligands attached to the nickel 2 ion is 4. So its coordination number is 4. The nickel 2 ion has 2 of the 3d orbitals are singly filled and 3 other 3d orbitals has a pair of electrons. The complex of nickel with coordination number 4 is diamagnetic here. So by the experimental measurements of the magnetic moment, the complex is found to be diamagnetic. One of the 3d orbitals should be empty and available for hybridization. Then only it shows a diamagnetic compound, because the experimental measurement shows that the compound is diamagnetic. So one of the 3d orbitals should be vacant here when approaching cyanide ligands, this electron pairing with this singly occupied electron. So here 4 orbitals vacant in order to accommodate the 4 cyanido ligands, that is 1 d orbital, 1 s orbital and 2 p orbitals. So this is possible only if, due to the energy made available by the approach of ligands, the two unpaired electrons are paired up, thereby making one of the 3d orbitals empty. So when approaching the cyanide ligands, these two electrons, unpaired electrons, are paired and thereby forming an empty d orbitals vacant, and this d orbitals, this s orbital and two of the three p orbitals undergo hybridization and form 4 dsp2 hybrid orbitals. These 4 hybrid orbitals, empty hybrid orbitals of metal ion to accommodate 8 electrons from the cyanide ligands, and thereby the complex is diamagnetic. So it would involve dsp2 hybridization and its structure would be a square planar. The magnetic measurements of this complex is found to be diamagnetic. Functions of valence bond theory. It does not have a sound theoretical basis and is essentially qualitative in nature. It does not say anything about the electronic excited states and energies associated with them. The color and the magnetic moment of the complex are due to their possessing d orbitals. Therefore, there must be a quantitative connection between spectra and magnetic moment. The theory fails to predict the number, positions, and the intensities of the bands, spectral bands, observed in electronic spectra of coordination compounds. Spin theory does not give any magnetic moment from orbital motion of electrons. Magnetic field is generated by the combination of spin motion and orbital motion of electrons. This is the reason why magnetic moment experimental always differs from the calculated magnetic moment from the spin-only value. The valence bond theory does not predict why some complexes of a metal ion in a particular oxidation state are low spin, and some case the same metal ion in the same oxidation state shows high spin. You can see here hexamine cobalt 3 ion, it is a low spin compound, and hexafluorido cobaltate 3 ion, it is a high spin complex. In these complexes, cobalt is in the same oxidation state, that is +3 oxidation state. The valence bond theory does not explain the complex ion tetra amine copper 2 ion and similar other square planar complexes of copper 2 utilize dsp2 for dsp2 hybridized orbitals for bonding with the ligands. Valence bond theory suggests that the transfer of an unpaired 3d electrons of the copper 2 ion to the higher energy 4pz orbitals. But ESR spectra reveal that the unpaired electron in such complexes is not permanently located in the 4pz orbitals of the copper 2. Octahedral, tetrahedral and square planar complexes of D1, D2, D3 and D9 ions have the same number of unpaired electrons, hence cannot be distinguished from each other merely on the basis of the number of unpaired electrons. Similarly, outer orbital octahedral and tetrahedral complexes of all the ions D1 to D9, which have the same number of unpaired electrons and hence cannot be distinguished from each other. Valence bond theory. Thank you for your attention.